video starts, I just wanted to explain it a little bit because I went down to Maryland about a month ago and filmed some updates and actually ran into some issues when I got home, yada yada yada, ended up not putting out a video. So I also went down to MA a week ago, in the beginning of this week. Yeah, so I filmed more updates. So you're gonna be seeing the updates from a month ago, and you're also gonna be seeing the updates from this week. So a lot has been done, a lot of stuff is looking great. Brian is killing it, to say the least, and you know, as I always say, super excited. But with that being said, enjoy the video and enjoy the updates. It is a little bit of a long one just because of how much has been done. So if you're into sticking around and watching the whole thing, I know you'll enjoy it. If not, catch you on the next one. But that being said, enjoy the video. Thank you so much for watching. Woo! Behind the hidden shield. So here she is, looking just like she always does. But yeah, they got a couple things done here. Super cool dashboard that I got. That's left-hand drive. It's also carbon. Really nice. Brian, one of the guys, went ahead and put a bunch of buttons on there so it'll be super easy to get out of the car. So you basically just walk up, push that, and just comes right out, and it's latched in. And then Brian went ahead and started welding in the trans tunnel, which looks amazing with the B-roll touches on it. Looks really cool. And then he also went ahead and got the pedal mount welded in, along with the handbrake mount and the seat rails, and I'm pretty sure this was already all welded up last time we came here, but that's all done too. Another cool thing that Brian did is he started our rear firewall here. Again, really awesome with all the bead roll touches on it. Super nice. It's got a nice slant back to it, so we got a lot of good like rear window room. So I can actually maybe see out of the back of the car. But in between these two, like from there and there, it's going to be bolted in like a panel, so that if we ever have to get into the car or get through there somehow, we can just unbolt that. So that would probably be another bead rolled piece going in there, maybe with a logo on it. Yeah, as you can see, we got our tank back here still. Me and Brian were just talking about having a fill right here, so it's nice and easy to fill the car back up. He's working on making the shroud right now. I'll show you the radiator in a little bit. It's awesome. It's awesome though, because the radiator is going to fit perfectly in between these mounts for the rear structure, so it's awesome. But for this year, we're actually partnering up with Nitrous Express, so that's super cool. They were really awesome. Met them at SEMA this year, SEMA last year, and they were super nice, and I gave them a card and they reached back out to me, and we made it happen. So I'm super happy. We're gonna be using Nitrous on the car, not to mention Nitrous Express. They kill it in the nitrous world. But yeah, so Brian went ahead and made the bottle holder. We have these 10-pound bottles that we're gonna use. I was actually surprised. They're a little bit bigger than I thought they were, but still, that's a 10-pound bottle. It fills up, I think, anywhere between, I think when it's full, it's about 24 pounds. But Brian went ahead and made this awesome bottle mount. So what we actually did was we got the billet bottle bracket from Nitrous Express, which is awesome. Makes it super easy to clamp the bottle down and get in there. And it usually has two of these, but instead of reaching down and like trying to get this loose on the bottom, he put this sweet little bottle holder so it holds the bottom of the bottle from moving around, and then we'll clamp it at the top. It's super easy to get the bottle in there and bottle out, and very easy to tighten it down. So that's a tremendous help, especially in between rounds when you're trying to put a new bottle in. We're going to be using it for spooling up the turbo, so more on the low end side of things. But that being said, we shouldn't be really using too much nitrous where we're constantly changing the bottle out after like runs and stuff. But we'll see as we go, like maybe when we test with it, we'll see how long a bottle lasts using it for spooling up the turbo. But another really cool thing that Brian did was, it's kind of difficult to take a bottle in and out of the car when you have a seat in front of it, because we have ours behind the seat because it's good for weight and it's a good spot to have it. So we were thinking of how to get the bottle in there, and Brian came up with the awesome idea of putting it through the quarter window. So the bottle actually fits perfectly in this windowsill. So we just put the bottle in through here, tighten it, just tighten it down, and then the bottle's in there. And then we hook up the line for the feed, and then that's good. Brian went one step further in making it even cooler and easier to use. He put a hinge on the windowsill here so that all we have to do is press a button and it opens up like a door, drop the bottle in or take the bottle out. So the window's not in right now, but I can show you the hinge they welded in and the button post. So if you look here, Brian's got a piano hinge, I think that's what he called it. And this mounts, this is welded to the chassis obviously, and this mounts right to the window. So the window will open like this, and I think it should be able to go flat. He did this instead of taking the window out and then putting it up here or dropping it or scratching it, and then when you want to close it, you obviously bring it back, and there's a nice little quick latch right here, so we push that. So to open it, just push the button, open it up. If you want to see how this actually works, you can head over to MA-Motorsports on their Instagram and see Brian playing around with this. It's very cool, so definitely check that out. So really quick, I'm going to show you how easy it is to put the bottle in the car and take it out. I think the way that Brian set it up for us to put the nitrous bottle on there is really awesome, and it works out very well. And I just want to say thank you to Nitrous Express for working with us for 2020. Super excited for it, and I can't wait to feel how much more lower RPM power this 2J is going to have. So definitely looking forward to that, and definitely looking forward to playing around with it. Not to mention we're going to have a purge. So I mean, you gotta have a purge if you run nitrous. So run up on them. So as you can see, we have a rear window in here, and it's already cut out. So it's going to make it super easy to get to the fuel tank if we have to mess with anything, but we shouldn't have to because the radium fuel cell is top notch. But like I was saying, there's going to be a fill over there in the corner, and then the radiator is going to sit right behind here on a slant. So all this is going to be ducted to the radiator. So that'll be really awesome. I don't know if we talked about it on the last video, but Brian also went ahead and filled up all the holes in the firewall so that we don't get any heat, no smoke, even though this shouldn't be smoking. But yeah, there's a nice little hole at the bottom that we're going to try and use for the steering column, so hopefully that works out. So this is the big CNR radiator that Brian got, so we can throw it in the back. That's a lot of surface area to catch them air. And Brian was saying that they run really good when they're nice and thin, so I'm gonna give that a try. And you're gonna get all that sweet air pulling through the window here. And to help out with that, Brian went ahead and got some spout fans. These guys right here. I've been using spout fans on my car ever since I started doing the rear mount radiator stuff, and they work the best. So, and Brian knew that. Once he said some spouts, I was like, yep, he's gonna get the good stuff. So super hyped that we're gonna have a really good cooling system, because that's very important for a 2J. Fit nice and tight.
It does fit pretty good.
Nice.
I was a little concerned. I'm gonna have to, so I'm gonna bend this down on that side. Because I don't have a press brake, I couldn't have this little piece be all one thing.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So I'm gonna have to weld in little caps.
Oh, gotcha.
And smooth it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It is really cool though. Yeah.
I've never done one like that
Nice
before.
and sleek. First one.
Yeah.
We got the first one.
Just barely fit.
Make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where those bends are.
Oh yeah, you're right. Right on the line.
Right on the line.
That is awesome. How much air do you think these things will pull?
Like 3,400 combined.
No shit.
Yep. It's pretty good.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Most we could fit.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely on there.
Yep.
That's awesome. I like how it's nice and sleek too. Like the one that. So our motor plate is going to be coming soon to tie in how the motor's actually going to be mounted to this chassis. That should be coming next week, so I'll probably bring that here. And then we can get the down tubes coming from the frame here down to the lower frame. And those will probably tie into the plate, so that'll be awesome. Also, our dry sump system, we're going to be ordering that very soon, so we should have that next week as well. As you can tell, looks a little bit more like an S15 today. But that's thanks to these awesome 2F LFC panels. And we also have the trunk skin. That's right here. Put some hood pins on it. It's literally just a piece of fiberglass with a nice little rigid spine on it, just so it's not completely like like flimsy like piece of paper. But as you can see, Brian's been at work back here. I don't think there was none of this stuff in here last time I was here. So Brian got this all square tubed out, and this is actually holding on to a lot of stuff that we got here. So obviously we have our little support for the radiator, that awesome CNR radiator with the spout fans on it. So this is all ready to go. That's good to go. And also Brian got these awesome battery holders that are bolted into the bottom. So the reason why we have these is if we want to add more weight to the back of the car to have it drive differently. We have one battery in there for now, and also if we don't even want to use them at all, the brackets bolt right out, so we can take them out if we don't need them. So we got our carbon fiber doors on that I think Ryan and Brian started trimming out to fit these massive door bars here. We got this really cool pedal box cover from Kristaps over at HGK. It's I'm pretty sure this is actually made for a BMW chassis, but we're just going to chop it up and kind of like retrofit it. But it's a custom part. We're just going to make it even more custom, so that's fine. But as you can see, this trans tunnel is pretty much done, other than the hole cut out for the transmission. But the only thing is that we're waiting on a setback for the shifter, because we actually moved the seat completely as far back as we could, because we can, since we're using the floor mounted pedals. So the only thing that does is makes it harder for me to reach the shifter, so we're going to get a setback so the shifter sits a little bit farther back, which means until I get that, we can't make the hole for the top of this cover and then put the boot on it, because that's a new regulation for FD. But yeah, Brian's just been killing it boxing this out, and he made these really nice panels. These are both removable so that we can actually get to the transmission if need be while it's still in the car. So going back over to the radiator side of things, so this is like a really nice billet bulkhead fitting, and we got our fittings in there. And also, if I can put the car up later, the Mazier water pump is actually sitting right behind this, and it's already plumbed and everything. So we're just gonna have the lines come down the radiator, down here, through here, and then I think they're gonna go over here, run along the side. They're gonna come over here, then run along the side, and then probably cut a little hole through there or something, because this has to be all sealed off. But yeah, it's gonna probably do another one of these bulkheads right here, and then that will run to the motor. While we're here, let's hop in here for a second. So this is actually our dry sump tank, but this is a PRC dry sump tank, and I don't know how many gallons it holds or quarts, but Brian would know more about that. But it's got all the things you need. We have two fittings on the top because the pump that we're actually running has an air oil separator. When I say air oil separator, it's just an extra attachment on the pump that takes all that aerated oil and the foam out of the oil. So when either, depending on how it's plumbed, either when that oil goes back into the tank or when it goes through the oil cooler, it'll be efficiently cooled. You know what I mean? So if there's a lot of air there, that air can get hot. It's a lot easier for that air to get hot rather than the fluid. So if they take that foam out of the oil, all that air, it will be cooled more efficiently and hold its temperature more efficiently. Run through the motor better, probably be safer, just all around better to have. So we got that add-on to the pump that we have going in this car, and that's why we need two fittings on the top for the returns, because one return shoots a bunch of the foam and all that foamy stuff out of the oil back in, and then the other one shoots like good no foam oil. And then we have the one fitting on the bottom here, so that will be the feed for the pump. And then there's an extra bung here. I think that's just there just in case you want to use it for anything. And there's also a port back here so that you can put a heater on it, so you can actually heat this tank up without the oil going through the motor. So that's really cool to have. This, all in all, this is just a really cool piece, and it's actually got a breather tank inside this tank. But since this is inside the car, this has to be tucked away from the driver or passenger. FD rules, you got to have a clean floor, you got to be able to have a passenger in your car. So that being said, Brian went ahead and made an enclosement for it using I'm pretty sure this is probably all aluminum, but yeah. So now I'm just holding this here just because it doesn't have the Zeus's put on it yet, but this will give you an idea of what it'll look like when it's all closed. So like I was saying, nice bead rolled piece covering everything up, fits the transmission tunnel really nice, and it also makes it so, you know, no one's gonna be kicking around in there. Anyone who's sitting in here, their feet will be right here. It'll probably be a little bit uncomfortable to be a passenger in this car, but it's not built for passengers. It was built for me. Also, the windshield is a Lexan type windshield, so that's all bolt in and stuff and easily removable. So it's very cool how all this stuff can come apart if we need to get in there. And probably drill a little hole under the car so that when we want to drain the tank to change the oil in it, it'd be pretty easy to do. Maybe we even put a little line. Oh, but like I was saying, so these two fittings are up here, so that's why he built this little box on the top. This one will come up, go back there, and get fed to the pump, and then these ones will be the return. So it'd be nice and tidy and hidden, which is like, wasn't really, I don't think it was the plan to have it hidden, but this just worked out to be the really good spot, and Brian made best of it and came out awesome. I just showed you guys that carbon floor panel thing that I got from HGK. That is not the only thing that we got from HGK. I actually got this really cool part here that I'm super excited about, and it's kind of going to make it make our car a little bit unique. So this is the motor plate I was telling you guys about that is going to be going on the front of our motor, and it's also going to be holding the motor to the chassis. So that's why it has these little ears coming off of it, so, and the bolt holes. That's where you're going to be bolting down to the structure of the car to hold the front of the motor up. And probably make a little mount by the bell housing to bolt it by over there too, to the chassis. But yeah, this is a super cool piece that's made by HGK. Got in touch with Chris Ops, and he was super cool and let me know, you know, how to get my hands on one of these, so that's what we did. It's got a water neck right there, so that replaces the factory one. You can see it right there. So the fact that it has that means that I can get rid of the one that's currently on the motor, but this motor that's in the car right now we're actually not going to be using for the season. But it has, so either this is the water inlet or outlet, and it also has the alternator mount, and it has all the other goodies. And you could bolt the dry sump pump or the power steering to this, but the dry sump system we're using actually doesn't mount to any of this. It mounts to its own pan. But since we have this and this, which means we'd be getting rid of this bracket that holds our alternator with the water neck fitting on it, because the factory location is right here in the middle. The only thing that's different is instead of the water fitting being on this side, is on this side. So we're going to be plumbing it going down the driver's side of the car. It's a lot better than having it under that hot turbo that we're beating the crap out of, you know. So we're also, since we're doing dry sump, we're gonna have to move this power steering pump. Luckily enough, the daily pump that we are getting actually has an adapter for a hex drive on it. So on the back of the pump, it actually has a spot for the driver of this power steering pump. With that adapter, we can bolt this power steering pump to the back of our dry sump pump. So not only is that pump pumping our oil in and out of the motor through the cooler and everything, it's actually doing our power steering, which is really awesome. Well, the dry sump is going to be taking basically this area, and it's still going to be driven off the ATI dampener. The power steering is just moving to the back of the pump. But yeah, so A lot of the things are going to be changing around here. Like all this is going to look different. It's going to be mounted completely different. As I was saying in my other videos, we're not going to be using the solid mounts anymore. There's no point to have them. We're going to be switching from a throttle cable to drive-by-wire. So we're actually going to be getting rid of this throttle body, and I believe we have to cut the front of this off to weld a different flange on for the drive-by-wire. But since we're running nitrous, but luckily Plasma Man went ahead and thought about that, just in case anyone who bought their intake manifold wanted to run nitrous, you could. So I'm actually going to show you a little bit right now. I mean, you're not going to see anything from the top, but underneath here, let's see, you can see this like a little nipple right here. It's just a solid piece. It doesn't have a hole in it. It's not threaded, but this is made so you can take this and drill it and tap it so that you can take the nitrous fittings and put them in there. What I did is I went ahead and bought an SFI rated burst plate. So this is super smart to have because, I mean, these beautiful intakes, they're not cheap, and you want to be safe, especially with running nitrous, especially if you're running a wet shot, which is fuel, nitrous mixed with fuel spraying into the motor. So what can happen is if that fuel starts to puddle a little bit inside the intake manifold, then you go to start your car or something backfires, it'll backfire in the intake manifold, and you don't want that because depending on how big of a backfire it is, you know, you can break some parts. So we're going to go ahead and you're going to cut a hole in this awesome intake manifold, and we're going to weld a burst plate onto it. So it's a little frame, and then it has this little plate, little burst plate that goes in it, and it's sandwiched by another cap. But it's made by Plasma Man, so it's their part. We're welding onto their intake manifold. But I just want to play on the safer side, because if that bursts at the track, you just swap out that plate, call it a day. Not explode your manifold, don't have a manifold, changing a manifold at the track. So in the next upcoming weeks, I'm going to be going over some of the people that we're partnering with for this year. You'll probably be seeing a lot of it on Instagram, but I'm also going to be talking about it in my videos, just in case you don't see it on Instagram, either or. But I just want everyone to know the people that we're working with, because I'm super grateful for all the help that we're getting. Not to mention all these awesome components, awesome parts, awesome safety gear that we're getting this year. And that's kind of like a teaser for, you know, what's to come. But one of the people that we're actually working with this year is Fuel Suspension. And we're super excited because they have proven nonstop that they have the right components to get the job done. Their suspension has been on multiple pro cars. James Dean, Peter, I mean, I know they're on a different company now, but they won James won, I believe 2 championships on Fuel Suspension, which is amazing. I knew that since I was running the S15, they would have all that proper data for this chassis, and not to mention with a 2J in it, they'd probably be very familiar with it. So got in touch with Odie, and awesome dude, super sweet, got back to me super fast, and we actually worked something out. And we got a set of the 2-way adjustable 442 coilovers that are actually long stroke. So you can see we have our strut in here. That's just so when Brian decides to build the structure, either from here to here or there, we can put a wheel on it and check if it's too close for comfort, or we need to change something, or just, you know, just give us a good idea what we can expect. We got the Feel 442 coilovers on there. Super excited. These are a long stroke coilover, so that helps a lot with not upsetting the car when there's rough surfaces or anything like that on the track. I'm not a wizard when it comes to setting up suspension, but knowing what they've accomplished over the past couple years with their setups and their knowledge, not to mention they're willing to help us at the track if we need anything, I knew it was the right idea, and definitely should be on these coilovers, especially in an S15 with a 2J. They know this car, not to mention Odie's building an S15 right now, which is looking awesome. So super appreciative. I'd like to say thanks to Odie and Mike over at Fuel Suspension. I'm really looking forward to testing these bad boys out and learning a thing or two. You know, that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get on too. I expect to learn a lot of knowledge with having this, not to mention if they, you know, give me some tips at the track, that'd be great. So more knowledge, you know me, I love learning all about this stuff. So there's a bunch of other really awesome companies that we're working with this year, but I'm just going to wait until we get the sweet parts that we're getting from them, or components, just so I can show them to you guys firsthand and really give you an idea of what we're working with, because I feel like I want to do every company justice, you know, and I think that's the right thing to do. But yeah, for right now, the car is looking really good. Me and Brian have been talking about a deadline so that we can get this thing out of here, get it painted, and then we could start. We're gonna start working on wiring soon, and I'm working on all the components for all that electronics and stuff like that right now. So we're still cracking at it. Brian's busting ass over here. Everyone at the shop is lending a hand here and there. But yeah, super excited where we're at right now, and everything's looking good. So again, Brian wasn't in the video, but
I'm here.
He's here. He's working his ass off. We were just talking about how he's gonna tackle the crash bars on the back of the car. So there's a lot of, I mean, there's not a lot of crazy space to work with here since he's doing the sway bar. He has a really good idea of how he's gonna do the crash bars, and it's gonna be super safe and badass. So really looking forward to it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it that much, you can subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'll notify you when I'm dropping videos. Also, that helps me out, and I want to know what you guys think. So you guys can leave me comments, ask me questions, whatever you want. I'll answer them all day. Also, if there's anything that you want to see that I haven't shown you, let me know. You want me to explain something? I'll do it for you. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, follow Brian. He posts a lot of videos of this car while he's working on it. So they're over at MA-Motorsports on YouTube as well. Anything, I'll put a link right here, or I'll put the name right here, and then I'll put a link in the description so you can follow the videos that he's putting out. All right, later.